So I will just remind people to tab, if you're a Zoom user, to the Got It button and press space bar in that if you would like to be able to speak later in the meeting. Just a moment. Well, welcome everyone. I would like to call our meeting to order. This is the June 1st quarterly meeting of the Rehabilitation Council at the Massachusetts Commission for the Blind. So welcome. I always feel like June 1st is the starting day of summer for me, and we've had some beautiful weather, and I hope everyone had a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Just a reminder that our meeting is being recorded today. And if you have any technical issues with the meeting, please contact our host, Regina Dimarzo. Regina, thank you for hosting today.
No problem.
And I did see, thank you for posting the March meeting on the MCB YouTube channel. So that was accessible. One thing that I did notice is that on the RC landing page, I think the March meeting wasn't reflecting there. So maybe that's something over the next few weeks when we look at this meeting, we might be able to work on to get, I don't know how it works technically, but so that we can get all those meetings reflected on the landing page.
Yes, we can definitely work on that. In Carla's absence, we've been trying to figure out everything, but we can definitely look into it.
Great. Yeah, this is the first meeting that we haven't had Carla with us, so I hope she's doing well in her new position. Before we dive in, I just wanted to say a personal thanks to MCB. Hello, John. And also to the Carroll Center for the Blind, because in March and April, I had the opportunity to reactivate my own vocational rehabilitation case. And I participated in a 7-week training program at the Carroll Center. This was a screen reader user tester training program, which was outstanding. And I learned so much, and it was really nice to reconnect with the instructional side of MCB and be reminded of why the work that we do matters so much. It was really outstanding instruction. I'll give a little shout out to Katie Goulet, my MCB caseworker, who was so helpful. So thank you to everyone for making that possible. Hello, Dina. So I think with that, I will have all of our members who are gubernatorially appointed voting members unmute themselves. And I'm going to turn this over to Jennifer for our roll call.
Okay, so I'm wondering if our 2 newest members are in attendance. We have Philomena. And let me go to my notes. Okay. Devin Meyer, our 2nd newest member. Okay, and Jerry Barrier, if he's not here now.
I am here.
Oh, Jerry, welcome.
Hi, Jerry.
Hi.
And Naomi Goldberg.
Here.
Cheryl Scott.
Oh, hello, here. Hi.
Hi. And Martha Daigle. Okay, I'll keep an ear out for her joining. Rebecca Davis.
I'm here.
Okay. And Jennifer Whitmore. Brian Switzer.
I'm here.
And congratulations on being a Carroll Award recipient.
Thank you. I'm very excited.
Yeah, that's the great news.
And I'm here, Jennifer Harnish, and Deanne Elliott, our chair.
Did we forget anyone? I think you got them all. Okay, so by my finger counting calculations, we have 7 voting members here, and we need 10 for quorum. So unfortunately, we don't meet quorum today. And so we will not be able to vote on our minutes. We will be able to conduct our meeting. We just won't be able to engage in any really substantive discussion. We were thinking earlier, if you look back in the June minutes from March, we were going to have kind of an extended introduction period so that people could kind of get to know each other, because we do have some new members. But I think Jennifer and I were talking about maybe waiting a little while if we don't have quorum yet, so that we can get a full house before we kind of go through that ice-breaking exercise, or at least get to know each other a bit more. Does that sound right to you, Jennifer?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
I just wanted to ask of anyone else here, if anyone has information on our two newest members beyond their email addresses. I know Deanne's been sending out the announcement of the email, and they're included on that list. And is there any other way we could contact them?
Does anyone?
I believe we have provided the resumes also that should include a phone number for all of the members of the RC. So phone numbers should be available. If not, I can follow up and provide that additional information.
Yes, please. I haven't received any resumes for those two candidates. I don't. I have Brian's resume. And the others that came through the other process that we typically use, we have their resumes. So if you could forward to me their resumes, that would be great. We're working primarily with email now. I'm not getting any bounce backs, and I'm not seeing anything in spam. So my next thought was that I could send them something at their physical address, because we do have their mailing addresses. And I would be happy to reach out by phone just to make sure that they know they're welcome and they have all the information they need to be able to attend. So maybe we can connect after the meeting.
Phones are always helpful to connect with folks.
Okay.
I'll send those over to you right now, Deanne.
Oh, thank you so much. That's good.
Thank you.
So Jennifer, thank you for the minutes. They were excellent as always.
And thank you for your editing.
Oh, I didn't really do anything. Are there any discussions about the minutes? Because we can make any corrections if necessary, and then we'll just add this month's minutes to the longer set of minutes that was also included in the mailing in the
So,
attachments.
Deanne, this is Jerry. I don't have any discussion about the minutes, but I want to let you know I had an appointment scheduled for 12:45. It's a in-person physical for my health insurance coverage,
Right.
and she's running late. So when she gets here, I'll have to drop out, but I will hopefully be back before you call on me for anything toward the end of the meeting.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you. By all means, do that. And since we don't have quorum, this was kind of the critical part of the meeting for getting the head count. So I appreciate your coming, even though I know you had another commitment. All right, so if we don't have any discussion on the minutes, we will continue. Just a moment. Jennifer, how about if we look for our ex officio members and maybe any state guests to introduce themselves?
Yeah, why don't we start with the ex officio members? If you want to unmute and just introduce yourself. I know we've heard Nate is here, and John Oliveira has joined.
Yep, Nathan Scrocky with Massachusetts Commission for the Blind.
Thank you, Nate.
Yeah, John Oliveira, Deputy Commissioner, MCB. I'm here. I believe Commissioner D'Arcangelo is not going to join today. He's feeling a bit under the weather, so he's not able to join us today.
I'm sorry to hear it. Hope he's feeling better soon.
Send them our best.
Yeah.
Okay, I can go down the participant list just to check if we're missing anyone.
I think we have some guests here from MRC. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Sure. I can start. I'm Kate Beeble, and I'm the Deputy Commissioner at MRC. I'll turn it to Joan.
Welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm Joan Phillips. I'm the Assistant Commissioner of Vocational Rehab and Workforce Development. David?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dave Sykes. I'm the Next Gen Careers Director of Operations, and I'll turn to Michelle Banks.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Michelle Banks. I'm the Strategic Director for the Next Gen Careers Program, rounding out the MRC team here.
Great. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Do we have anyone from the Mass Office on Disability? We usually have some folks joining us from that office.
Hi, good afternoon, Deanne. This is Inez Canada from MOD, the CAP program.
Hi, Inez. Welcome.
I also have with me Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
And Sarah Wiles from CAP. Good to be with
Cool.
you all today.
Thanks for joining us. Do we have Patricia Hart with us? She sometimes comes. Any other MCB employees?
Deanne?
Yeah.
CAP also has a summer intern who's joining us today as well.
Oh, welcome.
Ben Elwey.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Thank you for joining.
Hi, Diane. Priscilla is here.
Oh, hi, Priscilla. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. We will continue with a membership update, and I'm glad that Mr. Jones could join us because we had a membership subcommittee meeting on March 23rd. Sarah Wiles was able to join. There was some little administrative snafus, and we didn't get the attendance that we needed at that meeting, so we will try again. And then on April 7th, I think it was, Mr. Jones and I met with Lauren Lang, MCB's general counsel. And you might remember from our last meeting that we had a couple of different spreadsheets representing the membership of the RC as we understand it, and the membership of the RC as the governor's office understands it. And our work was to try to synchronize those two lists so that we're all on the same page. And I think our understanding is that once that list is synchronized, then people will be able to kind of move through the pipeline a little bit more smoothly. Did I capture that right, Robert?
That's correct, Madam Chair. And just an FYI, I did just send over those resumes.
Thank you.
To your attention, and I checked each one, and there are at least one phone number for each of the candidates. Members. Perfect.
Thank you. We'll fill that in our contact list, and that'll be really helpful to have. So I'll let you know what happens after I reach out to them. So I think Mr. Jones sent me this week a revised copy of sort of the work of our synchronization efforts back on April 7th. And I'm happy to say it looks much, much closer. I hope you feel the same, Mr. Jones. It seemed like a lot of the names that represented, people who had been involved with the RC in previous years had been, I hate to say deleted, but that information was updated. I saw a lot of the names of our newer folks. There was still a few little areas that we can fine tune in a second round of edits, but I'm hopeful that we're getting closer to having those lists synchronized. Did you feel the same?
I do. Agreed. We are getting there, and just kind of trying to make as much progress as we can. We have started reaching out for potential candidates to continue to fill those openings. We're looking at kind of the bylaws and the statute. We just want to make sure we're meeting all the criteria. So, we are trying to make sure that we're looking for diverse, underrepresented individuals, but also making sure that the majority of the RC is individuals that are blind as well. So
thank you.
We're trying to get as much interested candidates as possible for a review. So if anyone on the line knows of anyone or any of you that may be interested in serving, please stay in contact with the chair or myself. or the agency, and give us your information, and we'll include you in our review process.
Thank you. I do want to stress that the way our board has worked in the past and according to our bylaws, people would approach the RC first. We would vote as a board on filling those seats. We would nominate a candidate and send it to MCB because of course we want someone that MCB can work with as well. And then it would go through Health and Human Services on its way to the governor's office. So the RC plays a really vital role in selecting those people because we know our own community very well. Every person here has connections with their own community. And we would like to reach out to communities that have not, like, we know very good qualified people, but we also want to reach those people who may have a lot to contribute and they simply are not connected with us yet. And in order to do that, I think personally, I would like to be able to solidify our list so that we know which seats are vacant, which seats are filled, and then we can develop a recruiting plan as a group, hopefully within the subcommittee of the membership subcommittee within the RC, to be able to nominate some names to solicit some interest. We can have outreach through MCBs, through the town halls, for instance. We can make phone calls, and then when we get a good, vibrant group of candidates, I would like to forward them. So I'm a little hesitant, although I know the governor knows many, many fine candidates. I'm really hesitant to have the governor's office be involved in that process. We're delighted to have the help and the participation, and certainly by all means, if you have some suggestions, forward them to us. But I want for the RC also to have a really important role in and a significant role in helping make those selections for nomination. Does that does that work?
Is that for me or for the council?
For you,
I mean, we're gathering names right now. You know, we're trying like outreach for identifying candidates that are just interested, but by all means, we are looking forward to working directly with you and the council with moving them through the process. These aren't individuals that have gone to the governor's office. We're just actually doing an outreach to start the process right now, Madam Chair.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Because I in my experience, we don't have a shortage of candidates. We have many, many fine and qualified candidates who are interested. And I have a folder also where I've been collecting the names and the resumes of people who have reached out to me or to someone on the board saying that they'd be interested. And the sticking point has been getting the names kind of through the process. So I'm hoping that we can resolve that log jam. And then once we get our list synchronized, then we'll be able to start having some more names to forward to you. So thanks again.
That works for me.
Yeah, cool. So let's thank you for your efforts, and we'll be in touch, and I'll take a look at that most recent list that you sent. Thanks for your work on that, and we'll hopefully get some things resolved in the next few weeks. So I think we'll move into our first presentation. You might remember from the recently completed combined state plan that there was an emphasis. One of our areas of recommendation was to work to support our young people. And there's an exciting new grant opportunity, which is going to be the subject of our presentation from our colleagues over at the Massachusetts Rehabilitation Commission. And I think I will just turn the conversation over to you. David is the person that I think I've been most in contact with. So David, would you like to help your team begin that discussion?
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Madam Chair. We have a PowerPoint presentation lined up for you, and we're more than happy to move through the content together. And we also look forward to an opportunity for your questions and feedback as well.
Great. And I should just say that MRC has very graciously provided us with an accessible PowerPoint slide deck, and I sent it out yesterday. Hopefully you had a chance to look at it, but if anyone would like it after the presentation, or if any members of the audience would like it, please contact me and I'm happy to forward it to you.
Hey folks, just teeing up our presentation here. Okay, so this presentation is on the Next Gen Careers program, moving traditional vocational rehabilitation to a self-actualization model from the Massachusetts Rehabilitation Commission. My name is Michelle Banks. As I said earlier, I'm the Next Gen Strategic Director. I've been working for the past few months and for several more and hopefully several years more with MRC implementing this new program. I joined the agency from child welfare from the Department of Children and Families, also working with young adults, demonstrating resiliency and working with them for healthy, productive lives. So really excited to be working with MRC on these outcomes. And I'll pass it to my partner, David.
Hello again, everyone. David Sykes. I'm the Next Gen Director of Operations. I was pleased to be able to begin this position very shortly before Michelle did. I have, however, had different roles at MRC. In fact, before MRC, I worked for the Department of Mental Health, and that's where I began focusing on services to young adults. And I'm very happy to again have this opportunity to extend that work. My current focus is on hiring our next gen staff, and I'm also involved in training and implementation. And I will, over time, with work with Michelle and other great team members, we'll have an opportunity to hopefully do some data collection as well. So very much looking forward to this work. And again, we thank you for your time today.
So today we're going to be providing you with an overview of the Next Gen Careers program practice model of the Rsa Innovation Grant that funds the Next Gen program, talk about the target population for Next Gen, the project components of the program, and our partnership with you all, with MCB and the SRC. So this, a little bit of a innovation grant overview. In December 2021, the Massachusetts Rehabilitation Commission received a $17 million innovation grant from RSA. This grant is fully funded through September 30th, 2026, with the potential for renewal. This is a 5-year demonstration project focused on improving long-term career outcomes. The grant provides a rich opportunity to use implementation science to design and deliver a service model specific to young adults with disabilities between the ages of 18 to 30 years old. MCB is a partner on this grant with John Oliveira, your deputy commissioner, and Joey Bizones, the supervisor of employment services. They're implementation team members and incredible partners of ours, and we're thrilled to have them on the team. The new model that we have named Next Gen Careers has a target population of vocational rehabilitation eligible young adults with a disability, ages 18 to 30, and all young adults with all disabilities are eligible. But we have targeted efforts to engage young adults with intellectual and or developmental disabilities, ID or DD, autism spectrum disorders, sensory, blind, low vision, deaf, hard of hearing, and from underserved racial and ethnic groups such as Black and Latinx communities. Participants may include new VR applicants, those previously served who are unemployed, and those currently employed but seeking a career change or advancement. And then I'll have David take you through the next slides.
Great. We're very, very excited about the opportunity to also provide more information around the Next Gen Careers core components. And here are some of them. A multidisciplinary integrated resource team, or IRT. IRTs bring together key stakeholders to work collaboratively around individuals' employment goals. This team could include a specialty counselor focused on young adults with sensory disabilities. I'm also pleased to report that we've been utilizing this IRT model to serve another population at MRC. So we're looking forward to the opportunity to extend this model to serve our young adults through Next Gen. Career preparedness. Career preparedness focuses on assessing and enhancing factors associated with career self-actualization, helping participants improve their preparation for their careers. We'll explore in a couple of minutes all of the elements that really will contribute to that young adults, eventual career self-actualization, but we just wanted to put that term in front of you for now. Also, career pathways. These career pathways focus on work-based learning, including apprenticeship, building career pathways, and obtaining initial competitive employment. And I will reference here career pathways specific to science, technology, engineering, and math, or STEM career pathways. And finally, career extended support. Career extended supports begin when the participant is employed and consists of on-the-job problem solving to help maintain employment, counseling to better prepare for promotional opportunities, and other supports to promote independence. Again, we're very excited about these components. Next slide. We also, and I promised a moment ago that I would reference more of these elements. So here is a little deeper dive. Next Gen Careers Learning Experience and Self-Cares. CARES is actually an acronym, capital C-A-R, small e, capital S. And now I'll give you more of a sense of what the Self-Cares acronym represents. It focuses on developing and enhancing a young adult's internal skills. And I'll just ask everyone to think back to when you were a young adult and when you perhaps were starting to live more, your goal may have been to live more independently, to seek employment, and where you may have been at in some of the following. For example, self-capacity, that's the C in self-cares. Your confidence in the ability to perform a job. Self-advocacy, the A in self-cares. Ability to direct one's own life. Self-realization, the R, understanding their strengths and limitations. And finally, the S, self-sufficiency, the ability to be independent. So again, these are the elements that we are focusing on in our service delivery and the learning experience that's being designed for our young adults. And these, we believe, will contribute to career self-actualization for these young adults as well. Next slide. But we thought it is also helpful to provide a comparison, if you will, around the service delivery approach. But first, looking at what we are going to call standard VR, the vocational rehabilitation as we know it right now, and also next gen careers. So I will read how we're viewing the service delivery approach for standard VR, and then I'll offset that with next gen careers. So standard VR, there is an element of career counseling and career mentoring. VR counselors are responsible for moving consumers through the service model and also connecting that young adult or consumer to other services and helping to implement an individualized employment, individualized plan for employment. Those vocational counselors are also closely following compliance and time and status guidelines that are required by our federal parent. Generally less use of apprenticeship and internship. Of course, as I mentioned, an individualized plan for employment is very important to the process in standard VR. And we do focus on the 90-day plus competitive employment benchmark. And typically we do see larger caseloads in standard VR. Comparatively, next gen careers, we're leaning in more around psychosocial mentoring, and that's again around those self elements that we described briefly a few minutes ago. The next gen service model is built around a team approach, again, that IRT piece. We are able to look a little differently at case compliance as compared to standard VR, so we can be less stringent. We do envision a higher utilization of apprenticeship, internships, and of course, around STEM careers, ideally. A career portfolio, which we envision being much more fluid and adaptable than an IPE. And finally, competitive employment does remain a benchmark, but we are also looking for the places where we can measure improvement in that young adult's self-cares and ultimately this level of self-actualization, career self-actualization. And that is partly accomplished through smaller caseloads. And next slide. Also working with MCB's RC. I'm reading through the slide for you. MCB, MCDHH are the identified partners of MRC in this innovation grant. We look forward to being able to provide to help the RC to be knowledgeable about both the purpose and practice of NextGen. We're also looking for the opportunity for the RC to advise the NextGen program on recruitment and service strategies for young adults with visual disabilities. We're also hoping to be able to provide the RC with periodic updates regarding NextGen progress, challenges and opportunities. And of course, we welcome feedback and recommendations from the RC that informs NextGen programming and of course benefits our shared young adult participants. So that concludes the slide presentation, and we really welcome your questions and responses. Michelle.
Yeah, thanks everybody. I think I'll stop sharing, but I just didn't know, John, if you wanted to comment or just let us have a conversation, but wanted to make sure your voice was present.
Sure. Yes, we are working well together. We're building the new system, NextGen, and we're working to have MCB consumers participate, those who choose to participate in this new strategy. And we look forward to bringing opportunities and new ways of developing our consumers and getting to the point where they can feel more confident and feel more confident in their advocacy work and any other aspects of their life, but ultimately to also help them get to the point where they can reach the goal of employment, and where that will give them many more opportunities as life goes on. So looking forward to working with the MRC team. We've been working together for a few months now, and as you're building something new, and we're building from scratch, there's a lot of components that we're working on every day and meeting weekly to pull together. And again, we look forward to continued work and watching this program roll out and develop. And welcome to, I've been giving the committee here updates as we go along, and we'll look to have MRC folks come back anytime you guys would like, but we'll continue to give reports as the program unfolds.
Thanks, John. Anybody have any questions, comments, thoughts they wanted to share about NextGen?
This is Jennifer Harnish from the RC, and this sounds like a very promising program, and certainly look forward to learning about the progress. I did want to ask, when you're looking at, say, staffing for the project over the coming years, to what extent are you going to be able to, say, recruit individuals with the lived experience in terms of the age and disabilities that you've described as your target population?
It's an excellent question. Yeah. So we are focusing on folks with lived experience and how to best serve our young people through a variety of ways. The first is we do have a peer mentor position on the resource team. So it is in partnership. It's not something that's ancillary or kind of something we're checking in on. This peer mentor is going to be part of the service delivery team for the life of a NextGen case. And that's in every region that we're serving. And I think, I can't remember now if we have this in the presentation, but we also have a specialty counselor role as well, specifically for sensory disability communities. And did I get your whole question in there?
Yes.
Good, good.
I have a question for John Oliveira. And I'm wondering, John, do we know approximately how many MCB clients would be potential candidates for this opportunity?
So that's very sort of difficult to put a exact number on. So we're first going to be looking at our pre-employment transition youth. That's the target that we're going to look at first. And then we're going to be looking at other individuals that are in that age range or may be good candidates for this. It's going to be an option that's presented to the consumer. We're currently developing some talking points, marketing strategies for the counselors to speak with consumers about. And so they'll have a choice at one point if they want to join this new Next Gen program, or if they want to continue in VR. They'll also have the option if they're in VR and being served by VR, they can also have that option to slide over to try some of the services that can be obtained from Next Gen. So I'm anticipating somewhere around 40 to 50, but that's an estimation. I don't know how many are going to say yes. I don't know how many will be interested. There are certain situations that are going to have to be worked out that we're working on now. So, but we're estimating anywhere from 40 to 50 consumers. We want to roll this the opportunity out to a population where that they're committed to this process, and so we want them to stick with it. So it'll be that's why we're looking at the pre-employment transition youth first, because they fit the criteria, but also because they are out there looking for opportunities, and they're young and they're looking to develop the cares skills, as David mentioned. And so we're going to offer them that opportunity, and picking up those skills will help them through the rest of their work career and in their own personal life themselves. So, but we'll definitely we'll work on that and try to give as many folks opportunity as we can, and we'll keep you informed.
Yeah, please do. So just for my own clarification, does a client enroll in the program and then they're part of it for 5 years, or would they kind of come in, achieve their employment goals, and then the program itself goes on for 5 years?
You want that,
Does that make
Michelle?
sense?
You want to take it?
So it's not a 5-year participant program. It's a 5-year, agency program.
Got it.
So we want to get our young people at their pace on, into STEM career ladders, into fulfilling careers. But we don't plan on it taking 5 years for us to do that.
So,
good question. Sorry, John.
One, if a consumer is going to college and plans to go to a 4-year college and everything's been running well, we're probably not going to ask them to come over to this program, because if their goal is to get a bachelor's degree and maybe go on to get a master's degree, that would not be the ideal consumer for this program, because we are looking to work on the skills that we mentioned, and we're looking that they achieve employment. So if someone going to get a bachelor's degree, they're not going to be available. We're almost a year into this program now, right, Kate? Or are we a year in? Or Michelle?
We are about 8 months. We have a development year, so that's where
okay. So we're about 8 months into it. So we have about 4 years left, give or take. And so we want to look at consumers that are going to be able to benefit and go through the system and hopefully achieve the employment goal at the end of whatever period it takes them to go through the rehabilitation process, through the Next Gen process.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
We do have a hand up from Sharon and Kate. Sharon.
Sharon?
Hi, thank you all. I just wanted to say, as a former VR counselor, that I think this is exciting because I think some of the time and status limitations that counselors have generally are relaxed in this scenario, and that's a really good thing. And I'm also excited about the idea of apprenticeships because those are very valuable, as we already know from internships. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kate?
Yeah, I just, this is Kate from MRC. I just wanted to follow up a little bit on the question, sort of John saying, folks will have a choice. Just wanted to riff a little on sort of what the selling point of this choice is going to be, right? You have traditional VR, and then your other choice is next gen. And the way we're going to sell next gen is it's about you're working with a team, right? As opposed to working with having just an individual counselor. It's going to be a team that has multiple skill sets on it, including a peer. And I do want to say having a peer counselor position is new for MRC. This is our first time we're doing it, and we're super excited about it and hope to use it in other spaces. You're going to be in a program that's focused specifically on young adults, right? So all of our materials, training, opportunities are really going to be targeted around 18 to 30-year-olds. It is going to be very led in partnership with the consumer or the job seeker, and the job seeker can pick who on their team is sort of their primary partner. So that may be a counselor, which is closest to that traditional role. It could be an employment support specialist. It could be the peer, right? They're going to have the choice of who they really want to partner with and be their go-to person. And they're also, when we get into the self-cares, et cetera, they, along with their partner, are really going to be able to think about sort of, what do I want this engagement to look like? Am I with my team all the time? Am I really working just primarily with you? It's really heavily leaning into this idea about being job seeker led and partnered with us. So there are a lot of things about it that have a different flavor. And I think we know from our DMH pilot, where we also have folks who have smaller case sizes that they get in the door in about a third the time, right? So it doesn't take the same amount of long time that it does now in traditional VR. So we think we hope lots of people are going to choose this path because we think there are lots of selling points about it. We've also talked about, haven't done yet, but talked about how to engage families, right? And have other sort of elements as well. So we personally think there are going to be a lot of selling points about this model. And it will be interesting to see. Also, part of the design of the grant is to do a bit of a comparison around a variety of components and factors between traditional VR and this model. So we'll have data and information that I think will help all of us who live in the VR world to think about what is the, how can we do better and what are the opportunities?
Also, just want to emphasize the piece that John brought up about if you want to go to a four-year college, this is not the program for you. This program is going to be focused on short-term trainings that result in the individuals being able to access employment fairly quickly. So job-driven trainings, and there are a lot of opportunities within community colleges where people can get a certificate that's like a 9-month certificate, and they're graduating, going into employment that pays a very good salary. Our goal is to help people get off of benefits and be confident that they're going to be in a career where they're earning a living wage. We don't want to take people off of benefits in poverty and move them into jobs where they're barely living above the poverty limit. So.
I love that. I worked at a community college for 8 or 9 years, and there are some wonderful programs that are overlooked in community colleges where people really can make very good salaries.
This is Jennifer Harnish again. I just wondered, and this may have been said already, for the apprenticeships and internships, will those be paid opportunities?
Apprenticeships are usually paid by the employer who offers that opportunity. We do have some job-driven trainings currently that operate in our VR program. The hope is to replicate that. We can't promise that those will be paid, but as much as we can afford to, offer stipends and other incentives, I think those are best practices that we will try to replicate in the next gen model.
Thank you.
Deanne, I don't see any more hands.
Okay, so thank you. This has been wonderful. I really appreciate hearing about your new program, and it's very exciting. And of course, you're welcome to come back anytime, and we'll look forward to your updates. I'm wondering how the RC can be most supportive of your initiative. Are there some specific things that we might be able to do?
I mean, I think as we move forward and, you're getting more information about the initiative and our progress, that, whatever feedback that you're hearing that you'll be willing to share, we're in the implementation phase right now. We're creating something from scratch, literally. And I'm hoping, John and Joey are bringing information back to you. So if people have any advice, especially as it relates to serving, our shared consumers, MCB shared consumers, that, we're happy to take that advice and guidance to help to ensure that next gen is as inclusive as possible.
Yeah.
This is Kate. Oh, I'm sorry, Dan. I was just going to add something more specific around, sort of what's sort of the first hurdle coming will be around recruitment, right? Sort of recruitment of young adults into the program. So we are working with our communications department, who I know is connected with yours as well, around what that campaign and how we're going to get the word out there. But I do think that's that was an area that I was wondering about with your SRC, right? Is there a way for you to help us think about what those avenues and spaces are so that we can be sure to make sure all the right people of those that you're serving sort of know who we are or potentially serving, right?
Yes, I could definitely see that. I mean, I think right here within the RC, we have representation of many, many organizations, each one of which has chat lists and newsletters and mailing lists, and perhaps people would be willing to submit it to whoever it is in their organization that that puts out those publications, and perhaps we could just get the word out with the contact name and telephone number, and people could reach out to you if they're interested. I mean, that's sort of like maybe that's kind of the low-hanging fruit, but it's the first thing that comes to mind, and then we could work, together more collaboratively as the program develops to see if there are introductions that you would like to have made with key people and different organizations. We could facilitate that.
I also want to say that we're going to be posting a specialty counselor position. So when that comes out, if you guys could just help us spread the word regarding that position. At some point, we're going to be putting an advisory board together. So perhaps, some of the members of your SRC might be interested in joining that advisory board. So more to come. Regarding that.
Good. I think all of those are very doable. Are there any other questions or comments, either from members of the public or from our board members? Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing this presentation and informing us about this great program. And we will be in touch. And I think maybe, John, since you'll be a liaison between the two groups, maybe we can incorporate some updates also into the Deputy Commissioner's report that we do every quarter.
Certainly will do that.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, thank you
for
again.
having us.
It's been really informative.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So our next agenda item is the commissioner's update. And since Commissioner D'Arcangelo isn't able to join us today, shall we go directly into the deputy commissioner's update, John? Or would
That would
someone?
work for me. Sure.
Okay, unless someone else has been kind of set up to take his comments, but I know that many times you incorporate the commissioner's comments in your
Yeah.
own.
Yeah.
So
We'll cover it all. And if you have any, if I missed anything that you guys are, you can ask. And so we did, since our last meeting, we did hold our Visions of Collaboration conference, a pre-ETS conference. Well attended again with many TVIs from all around the state, Perkins and Carroll Center and different employers, different school systems. Wonderful day. Lots of our folks had a chance to interact a little bit. We're getting a lot better with Zoom these days, so we're a little more creative, and we have different strategies to keep things going. So the technology worked well. We had our vendors had an opportunity. Some of our pre-ETS vendors, of I think about 9, had a chance to talk a little bit about their programs so that the TVIs are aware of what's out there if they're not. We had some good presentations, and a usual technology presentation was also very good. Also, our new director of mobility, Ali Bull, did a presentation on using different apps as part of your orientation and mobility or your travel skills development. So that worked out really well, and was very well attended. So we also have started work on our internship program, obviously, staple here every year, and we're at 92 possible interns. I'm predicting that we'll go down probably into the 70s or close to 80. But we started out with 99, and due to different summer or conflicts that have come up, we've had a few withdrawn. There'll be probably a few more that go. We collect everyone that has any interest, and then as we go through the process, then some of them have other commitments they have to do, or just are not able to participate. So we had our soft skills training, which every potential intern is required to come, and so we had that just last week. And we again go through our staff presents. We have a soft skills curriculum that we use, 6 modules, and our staff from each of the 6 regions presents each of the modules, and we shift that around every year so that the presentation style is different, and some of the interns that are repeat interns get to see it done in a little different way. So that worked out very well. Much more interactive this year than it was the first time we did it. Again, everyone is much more comfortable, both staff and consumers, much more comfortable with technology, and we're able to interact and answer questions and really participate in the soft skills presentation. So the next event is the internship coming up next week, the opening internship ceremony, again online, virtual this year, and that's sort of the kickoff to the internship season, where all the interns get a chance to say their name and what college they go to and where they'll be interning for the summer. Again, to some presentations. We'll again be having the Reach for the Stars contest, where we will give them a question, and they'll submit a sample of their question, the answer to the question. They can choose to enter as far as something written. They can choose to produce a audio product, or they can choose to produce an audio video product, and they can and we'll evaluate it, and there's obviously always cash prizes. with this, which is very popular with the students. So we're hoping to have lots of entries, and then obviously we're going to close it out in August with the closing ceremony to celebrate the completion of the majority of the internships and to wish the students well as they return back to college. So again, a very long process, but it keeps the committee busy year round and gives us the opportunity to make changes and always trying to improve and get feedback from the interns to build on for next year. So that's pretty much on that one. The National Industries, the Blind program. So moving along, we do have 3 people in this current class. They have taken. It's been broken up into four components. So they've taken the introductory one and completed that, where they learned a lot about using Microsoft Office and the applications within that, and the internet and JAWS or Zoom text. Just 4 intensive weeks of getting them up to speed. They're currently in the marketing aspect of the program, several intensive days of marketing, and then they'll move on to the next step where they're going to be learning how to use the platform that the sales will be occurring on. So that will be happening by June 30th. And then shortly after, into July or mid-July, then the component where they will be sort of doing could be, I guess, an internship or a work experience that they will actually be using and taking orders and getting themselves out there and with support from NIB. So looking forward to rolling that out. And we had some brief discussions about another session of this coming, but is probably towards the fall, towards the end of the year, to start another group in the program. And they've learned lots of things to do, what not to do, and different tweaks that they've made to the curriculum, different ways they are presenting it to the consumers that are in the program. And so it's been a good learning experience again, and we're the first one in the country to do this with them, and they are looking to add on some additional states in the next group of individuals that are interested in becoming e-commerce entrepreneurs or merchants, whichever you want to call it. So that's the pretty much on that. That's going to be going on. Hopefully in September, I will give you more of an update on that and give you a little bit of good news. The phone system is that you've heard about. It's the voicemail system is progressing. There was a company that did a study and helped with held some focus groups, and this would be David's part that I'm talking about now. Focus groups that were held with representing different constituencies, and the recommendations have been written and provided now, so that the features that the research brought out will have been presented to the folks that handle acquiring this phone system. So it's part of a big project there, where a larger phone system is being purchased, and we have this portion of this voice integrated system, and we've recommended the features that would be good for our consumers. So we'll wait to hear on how that comes about. What else do we have here? As far as you guys are familiar with Checkbook, our new fiscal system, that's coming along well. We'll be entering July, and that'll be our first full year using it. And a lot of our vendors are extremely proud of being able to enter their payment vouchers online and submitting it directly online instead of using the old methods we were using. And that's working out very well. Purchase orders are being emailed to the vendors, which is much faster than mailing it. So that's very helpful. And as the more we use it, the better it gets, and that the easier it is to use. I'm pretty much any questions for me? Any other topics I haven't covered? It's pretty much what's been going on currently.
Thank
The
you.
earmarks, I'll touch on those for a bit. That's not VR, but the earmarks are going well. Our budget process, as you are aware, is continuing to move forward, and it looks like MCB is well funded, and we anticipate as the process goes through and getting to that final budget.
We're in the home stretch for sure.
Yep, we are. Any questions about any other areas?
John, this is Jennifer. I'm just curious if you can give us a little hint of any of the types of items that will be sold in the entrepreneur program.
Okay, so they like to feature, I mean, they have thousands of items, okay, but what they're primarily are putting out and what they recommend that our entrepreneurs push or market are the items that are in demand in the office setting, or in the I don't know, again, in the office building setting, pretty much. So if we were all back at the office, you'd be ordering your regular pens, your regular notepads, your sticky notes, your regular things that you buy and you have to keep on buying because people use them, and so you have that sort of helps you build a general flow. So they're going to continue to do that. The business has changed a little bit because obviously, deals or agreements have to be worked out as far as home supplies and what people are doing as far as those types of supplies when they're at home. Are they coming to the office to pick them up? So they're sort of watching how that goes and how that's impacting their sales, because it was a lot easier when people in the office 5 days a week. Now, if they're only in the office 1 or 2 days a week, they're using those products less, and hopefully they're taking it some homes to use at home as they need it, so that the office will need to keep purchasing it, so that the company, so that's the items they'll look for. Cleaning products, they like to market to a lot of cleaning companies, office cleaning companies that would use these products and would run out and would repurchase again if they're happy with the product. So that's the type of what they're looking to help you build your base, is products that are constantly being replaced. You use and replace, and you keep needing that product. And then the others will be things that you buy once a year, you buy every now and then, so that are not really part of your generating a salary, but offer enhancements or offer you a little more money as those sales come about. So that's going to be that's sort of their main marketing ideas, to get as many commercial accounts as possible, because they obviously are the biggest buyers of these types of products. And then have if someone goes on there and they want to buy something, but it's also available to individuals. So if you like this type of product and you find out where it can be purchased, you can go to abilities.com and that sort of, and go to that site and purchase it for yourself. And there's lots of things, products on that site that one could buy. So it'll be interesting. It'll be a learning process. I think it's going to be a learning process for them. They already have a sales, a flow that they already sell to. And this is sort of adding on this concept where e-commerce entrepreneurs around the country, as they roll this out, will be continuously selling. And I think you'll have the option to add your own local products that you'll be selling to someone, to your local consumers, your local customers. So they're figuring out how to integrate that all into the system, and the shipping and all that that comes with this. So we'll see how it works.
Thank you for those details. It's really fascinating.
Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, can you tell us, John, if there are plans for a job fair in the fall?
Oh yes, of course. Yeah, committee is working on this, and we are going to be offering a job fair that a little bit different than other years. We always make a little change to keep the employers interested, and we're going to be offering the job fair again. It's going to be virtual. It's going to be offered in two segments. Some employers thought that one extended sitting segment when you're watching all these individuals might be a little bit too much. So we have split it up, and all the employers will attend both sessions, but they're going to be a much more manageable time period, and they will have a chance to see all of the applicants that we screen and prepare to meet them. And we're using a reverse job fair model, which has gone over well. And actually, a couple of Office of Health and Human Services, they've held this on a couple of job fairs that they've done, where you have a period of time to come up and make a pitch to the employers, and then if they're interested in talking more with you, then they'll have your resumes, they have all that information, and then they'll reach out to you and actually schedule an interview. So basically, everyone gets an interview. Here's your chance to do your pitch, and if you're a good salesperson, then they'll call you, or if they're interested, they'll call you and schedule the interview. And this it's been working out pretty well. The participants have been happy with it. The employers have been excited about it. We are going to offer an education seminar. We usually do that, offer that in September for all the employers that are interested in coming to attend, just to learn more about people who are blind, the technology they use, or the jobs they might be interested in, or any information that we can provide. That's more of an information session for the employers, so they can learn a little more about folks who are blind. So that's worked out well. So we'll do that, and we'll keep that again a little more crispier and not so long and drawn out. Make it a little fast and just deliver a lot of information and have it available for folks to learn, and then use what they learn when they hear someone who's visually impaired pitching them at the reverse job fair, and see if they're interested in hiring anyone.
Thank you. I was also, you mentioned the internship that was coming up, and it would be good maybe if we could distribute the invitation to the introductory ceremony to our members. Some folks
Sure.
might like to attend.
I have my assistant get that out to you guys.
Yeah, and I'll send it out to the group.
We'll send it to you, and you can distribute to everyone.
Yeah, I'll be happy to do that.
All right.
It's a nice ceremony. I mean, I don't attend everyone, but it's really just kind of.
And it's going to be
it's
on
very,
Zoom, so
yeah.
it's easy to get to.
Yeah. Yeah. So I encourage people to do that. Could you give us an update on registrations and how that's going?
Okay, that's for Nate. Are you with us, Nate?
Yep, I'm here.
All right, it's all yours.
Good. Yeah, registrations. Right now, we currently have only 12 cases in process. We have our latest case that we have in process is from 3 days ago. So, a little bit of probably improvement since the last time you had an update on the registration, but just a number of different things that we've done with our process and our we have part of it automated, where some of the information that goes over from the registration program goes over to our case management program. That has helped, and we're just in a much better spot than we have been with that. IDs and COBs are going out in 1 to 3 business days at this point. So we shouldn't have anything that's beyond that. We encourage people that if they hadn't made a request or have any issues, to connect with us if it's outside that range for COBs or IDs. And then registrations right now, They come in there, it ebb and flows, and depending on the volume coming in, we're communicating that, those should be done in 10 business days. But right now like I said, we're turning them around in about 3 to 5.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you want to hear about the project with the town clerks regarding
Sure.
certificates of blindness?
Sure.
You want to touch on that, Nate?
Yeah, I can speak to that as well. We're working on sharing our registry information with the 351 assessors across the Commonwealth. We are going to share who is on our registry in those towns. They'll have access to a database through DOR. And if someone does request any type of tax abatement through the city or town, that assessor will be able to go into this database to see if that person is indeed registered with us. We're currently doing an address verification match on the registry, and also a death match to make sure that our information is all accurate. We're going to be doing a mailing to each of the people on our registry, and communicating that this is going to be happening, but also give them the opportunity to opt out. So if they do not want to share that information, we'll take them off that list. And we also just want to communicate how the list is being shared too. The assessor will not have access to all the names. They'll just see if that person that's requesting the abatement is either on it or not. So they won't have access to anything outside their town, or a list in general. It's just a request that goes into the system, and it's a yes or no that person's registered with us. And of course, if people opt out or aren't on the list because of the timing of the shared information, they can still request a COB through the regular channels that we have, either through the phone number or through our email, or through their workers. There's a number of different ways they can reach us, and we'll get that right out to them.
Thank you. Did anyone else have any questions of John or Nate? I actually had another follow-up question, John. I'm wondering about the reallotment projects. How are those coming along?
Those are coming along. Obviously, there's a deadline on some of those. That's some of them. Those aren't reallotment, but the projects that we had, the PAC money, the state funds that we were given, that the Commonwealth got received from the feds, agencies were handed some money. So those projects are going to be all wrapped up by June 30th. Those are all on schedule. And then we have a couple of reallotment projects that will extend out to September 30th, which is the federal deadline. And those look to be on schedule at this point. Everything is started. Everything is in the works. So we'll carry those forward. I believe they were listed in the minutes of the last meeting. Mm-hmm. So you can refresh your memory of those, and we can give you an update in September if anything comes up regarding those.
Very good. Well, thank you for that update, doing double duty today for the commissioner as well. Thank you for the update.
Thanks.
And I guess we can move right over to you, Nate. Again, following up from the discussions that we had as part of the combined state plan, members might remember that we were hoping to, in the coming 2 years, have more statistical data to drive our decisions and to drive our guidance and suggestions that we provide and the feedback that we offer to MCB, because the more we understand and the more grounded our information is in the same numbers that MCB is working with, I think the more tailored and effective and useful the feedback we provide will be. So to that end, I asked Nate Scrocky if he would come and present a sample document that the RC might use. And we're envisioning something that would be available quarterly and would be a regular part of our meetings. And I think for this exercise, we're less focused at this moment on the content of what's being presented and more the format itself. And I'm going to ask each of you in your capacity within the organizations that you represent to take a look at the 2 Excel spreadsheets that that Nathan worked on and gave to us. And these are fluid documents, especially the one about the RC. And we can really tailor in the coming months the content that we would be receiving. And I'd ask you to see what information would be the most useful to you so that you could provide the feedback to MCB in the discussions that we have. So thank you, Nate, for joining us, and thank you for the spreadsheets that you forwarded.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm thinking in particular, we might want to start with the RC spreadsheet.
Sure.
Did everyone have a chance to take a look at it? One suggestion I have is that maybe I could do a screen share with JAWS running of the RC spreadsheet, and we could just kind of go through it quickly, and maybe that would generate some talking points. Is that something that people would welcome? Yeah. Okay, that was what we did when we did the session on reviewing our landing page. And I was really pleased. I mean, there were just so many good ideas. And I don't want to do too much talking because this is really an opportunity for the membership to chime in, and we want to hear your ideas. And then I think Nate and I were talking earlier that we would meet offline and kind of incorporate some of the RC members' suggestions. And then we can work on it a little bit over the summer and present it again in September. And it's, kind of a fluid document that we can change depending upon our needs.
Yeah, absolutely. We can include additional information that might not be on here that you're looking for. We can change the way that it's formatted. It's really like Deanne mentioned, it's really how everyone wants it presented and what's the best use for them. And we're very flexible on how that's done. So we're really curious about hearing your thoughts.
Yeah, great. Thank you. So let me do this.
Share Zoom meeting, share screen, Alt+S button, meeting controls. Participants can now see your screen. Notes for June 1st. Docs post attendee -zoom FW : left right RC spreadsheet.xlsx Excel. Please wait. RC spreadsheet.xlsx Excel date first cell.
So
Alt space first move size minimize maximize enter leaving menus. Massachusetts Commission for the Blind left parent MC.
How is that looking? Are people seeing it?
Yep.
Yes.
And I'm going to slow down my volume, my speed a little.
Slower. First cell.
Is that a good speed for people?
Yes, that's perfect.
Great. So let's just down arrow here and people can just shout out what they're thinking.
Blank A2. Blank A3. MCBRC dashboard A4. Blank A5. Blank A6. Vocational rehabilitation left parent VR right parent A7. Blank B7. Vocational blank A8. Status A9.
Okay, so here we've got status.
5/24/2022 B9. Status A9.
And I'm down arrowing from
Sharon Strelkowski has
status.
joined the meeting. Application A10.
And I'm right arrowing.
19 B10.
So one question I had is that I see that this date is from May and these are the number of applications. Does that mean applications year to date, or does that mean applications for the month of May?
That means the applications on that date that were processed. So those are, if they're in application status, that means they haven't been moved into an eligible or service status yet. So those are just newer cases on that day that people are probably contacting the folks and setting up appointments at that point. It's just a snapshot of that day where cases are. So the three
Robert Jones has left the meeting.
The 3 case statuses are application, eligible, and service. There's always going to be a small amount of number in application and eligible, and service are the cases that are like actively receiving services at that point. And when they're in application or eligible, they're just kind of in the process of getting to that service status.
So does that mean you received 19 applications on that one day?
No, those could be
No?
received at any point. They're just still in that application status where they're in that status when the regional director sends it to a worker and it's in that application status. So it's kind of in the process of being set up for an intake appointment at that point.
Do we know how long they've been
There-
applicants? Like, I'm wondering if we can kind of put some time frame around it, like this is the year to date number, or this is just for the month of, or just for this quarter, for instance, since the last time we met. How, do you have any recommendations?
I think the only recommendation I would have in that is that because those are usually only in that status for a couple weeks at the most. Sometimes they're in that status for a couple days. It just depends on the schedule of the worker at that point. Same thing with eligible. We could do the amount of which we have later is just the cases assigned for the year. And we can break that out. What we have later is the total cases, so include SR and VR. So we could do the total VR cases assigned out for the year instead, might be more beneficial.
Yeah, like maybe having a starting point would be.
So legally, with under the RSA rules, Deanne, there's a case can be an application stage for up to 60 days. So if you go to the general rehab agencies, that 60 days is often utilized in most cases because they're waiting for documentation from doctors to verify the medical disability. So in our case, we have the I-report up front. We register them. So when they go into application stage, the time that they are sitting in application is usually the time, as Nate mentioned, that is taken the counselor to schedule. And once they get out there and they sign the application, put all the data into it, and then we have the medical. It moves to eligibility. So, as Nate mentioned, someone can be in there for a couple of weeks. Others can be there for 40 days, 20 days. Majority of MCB, I'd say probably 95% are there a couple of weeks at the longest.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not in that status that long at all. It's a quick move out of there. So I think maybe what the committee might be looking for is something more of just what are the total number of VR applications that came through to that. Now, do we want to do fiscal year or calendar year to date?
I don't know.
So the calendar year that our RSA uses is July 1st through September 30th. That's when we file quarterly, so that the numbers start counting again on July 1st. So, but you could go either way with that. But it used to be October through, it used to be, they tweaked it a little bit where the first quarter is now July through September. And then that's when they start counting. Where they used to use the federal fiscal year, I'm sorry, it's July through June 30th. That they count. It used to be the federal fiscal year from October through September 30th, but they changed that in the last several years ago when we was passed, so that we could all get on the same system as far as counting and statistics. All the other programs were using July 1st through June 30th. So VR moved to July 1st and gave up the old federal federal year that we used to go on. So we're more on a state year now.
This is Cheryl. I have a couple questions and some comments. I guess one is a recommendation. If you could also include the definitions of these terms so that we have a sense. Like, it was really helpful to hear from you, Nathan, to hear what application meant, eligible service.
Sure.
Same thing with case closures. What does it mean to be successful or other? I don't think necessarily race needs a description, but
yeah,
and
then I think that's the key of all
cases in
definitions.
process.
Yep.
Yeah, like I don't know what that means. The cases in process in the different stages.
Sure.
So I don't know if you can create a tab or something with just like a glossary. That might be helpful.
Absolutely.
I think for the to this question around the status, to me, what's most informative is to get a sense of like how many
He
applications
has left the meeting.
were generated over, and to Deanne's point, like, I think it would be helpful to have a period of time. Maybe if this is going to be reported out every quarter, then maybe like how many new applications since last quarter, how many like have been moved to eligible, and then the total service number at the close of that quarter. That makes sense.
Yeah, I like that.
I hear what you're saying. Is this for application eligibility? Those are dynamic, but just having a number that's reported out at that point in time, it's not really indicative of what's really happening. It doesn't give a sense of like the volume of individuals being served, but maybe getting a sense of like how many over a period of time might be more informative.
Sure.
I like that. What do other folks think in terms of the calendar question?
Could we do a quarter to quarter and also year to date? Like one's a running tally and one's since last quarter? That might be too much, but I think both might be helpful.
Yeah, I can do anything. So it's whatever's informative for you guys. But yeah, I can definitely, we'll put that together. And like Deanne said, this is going to be a, it's a very fluid document. So we'll make these changes and we'll re-review it when we're done, and we'll see what sticks and what doesn't. And I'm fine with making changes as we go too. So it's this is for you.
Yeah, and to Cheryl's point, we could have a multi-sheet spreadsheet, and maybe we could have like our explanations on page 2.
Yeah,
And then
I'll do a
people could
glossary.
easily flip back and forth to the glossary, because these are unfamiliar terms to me too, and I know that that'll help, especially our new members but all of us really.
Great.
Yeah, would it be possible to do comparative statistics from year to year? So for instance, during COVID, we know that just the reality of COVID caused some numbers to go up as people decided to come back to work, or go down as people didn't want to work in the workplace and be exposed. And it could be really informative to see the point of comparison now versus 2021 compared to 2020. Is that something we could do, like maybe a 2-year look back?
Yeah, absolutely. If we review the SAB dashboard that we do as well, some of that information is on there.
Okay. Let me continue to arrow down.
12, B11, eligible A11, service A12.
Service. Does that mean people who are currently receiving services, currently receiving VR services, or who have
Correct.
been serviced?
Those are currently receiving services. Yep.
Okay.
750, B12.
So there's our number, 750.
Service A12, totals A13, 781, B13.
So those are the 781 is the total VR open cases currently.
Okay. Good.
Totals A13.
Did anyone want to make another comment on this this table before we go on to the next one? Hearing none, I'll go down.
Blank A4, case closures left parent 2022 right parent A15. Blank A16, closures left parent total right parent A17. 5/24/2022 B17. Closures left parent total right parent A17. John Smith has joined the meeting.
So these are closures per calendar year, like January 1st to December 31st. Is that right?
Correct. So these are closures for this calendar year, I believe. I think so. Yes. Yep. I can tell by the number 54 and 38.
So
I
for
get confused to do another one that is the fiscal year. So yes, this is the calendar year.
So for people who are more statistical than I, does that present a comparative problem where one might be based on a calendar year and another is based on a fiscal year?
My suggestion would be to move everything to a fiscal year, because that's how like John mentioned before, that's how our RSA counts it. And I think that just might put it in line with when we're doing reporting at the end of the year and other things. You'll kind of understand where we're at when we talk about, closures for the year and those type of things, it will line up with that. So that's my suggestion, is to do it by fiscal year.
Okay.
It's a lot easier to calculate because then you'll be looking at 2 years, because the year will begin July 1st that we're counting. And then if you end it on the calendar year, it'll end and then you'll start again. So you'll have to add up both. Whereas if you're on the July to this June 30th year, that's all in the same year. So you have a running total.
I see. What do other people think?
I think it makes sense to have everything fiscal year, so there's consistency.
Yeah, I'd agree. Does that work with the organizations that are represented here in the RC? I know everybody's got a different calendaring system.
Closures left parent total successful A18.
So here we've got successful closures.
54 B18 successful other A19. 38 B19 other A9 blank A20 blank B20
Maybe we could have a total there.
blank A20.
Yeah, sure, I can do that.
Deanne,
Yeah.
this is Inez.
Hi, Inez.
The other thing I would like to see in the case closure section is what kind of jobs people are getting, like what category. You know, are they retail jobs? Are they healthcare, IT? Is that something that can be tracked in that successful closure piece?
That's good.
Yeah, I could do that. I think it would, because there's such a wide range of options, it might be easier. Yeah, I could do it. I could definitely do it for sure.
Even broad category, not just like every last one, but more
Yeah,
like
we
broad
probably just have to break it down into some other categories, and maybe I can work with Deanne offline to just make sure we're breaking them out and just have clear expectations and where they're dropping. And that's something that I would probably also, and you'll see we have another tab here with different charts. That might be a good one for like a pie chart as well, to kind of see where those different buckets are landing.
Maybe we could avoid the pie chart just because those can be a little bit tricky to read with the screen reader.
Okay.
But we could certainly come up with some kind of a presentation that would bring in that data. And I really like that idea because we do have our 4 business, industry, and labor seats. And then I know with Cheryl's expertise in the workforce development, it might be a good way for us to be able to sync the kind of graduates we're producing with where we know market trends are, so that we can hopefully get the private sector the talent that they are looking for hiring. That could be really good.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Blank A20 VR demographics A21.
So here we have VR demographics. This would be for the 781 total active cases, or is this for the 750 who are receiving services?
This is the 781 active cases, correct?
Okay.
Blank A22 race A23 5/24/2022 race A23 American Indian or Alaskan Native A24 B24 American Asian A25 34 B25 Asian Black or African American A26 127 B26 Black or African did not identify A27 37 B26 did not identify White A28 480 B28 White A28 White Hispanic or Latino A29 72 B20 White Hispanic or Latino 8 Other A30 27 B30 Other A30 Blank A31.
So what I thought would be interesting to do with this, and I wanted to do, and I didn't have time to do it for this, is just compare those statistics to the Massachusetts general population statistics to see
that'd be good.
How close they are.
I like that. Maybe if we could get percentages too.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is one I did do a chart on with the percentages as well. I believe. Or
Okay.
it could be just the percentages.
Cool.
I think percentages as compared to the general population would be great. How are people who identify as more than one race handled in this data?
They would be under other.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot
And
of multiracial identifications, and there's just so, like, they're all so different. Instead of listing out 27 different additional things, I lumped them all under other.
Right. Okay. And so just to clarify here, white is also, white as a race is also included here with Hispanic or Latino, which I'm generally more familiar with being included as an ethnicity. Is that how the data is gathered, or do you separate out?
It's white, and then the other column is white, Hispanic, or Latino.
Okay, so, oh, I see. So white, 480 individuals, and then those who identify as white,
That's
Hispanic,
Hispanic
or Latino.
or 72, correct.
So is the 72 a subset of the 480?
No. No, the 480 are people that identify just as white.
Okay, so then if someone identifies as Hispanic or Latino and is of another race, how is that counted in here?
It is. So if someone identifies as Black, Hispanic, and Latino, that would be under the other. And then again, there might have been one or two of those total. And then, you know, there might be Black, white, Hispanic, Latino. There might be Black, Asian, Hispanic, or Latino. There's a number of different multiracial categories.
It sounds like probably these categories parallel the information that's being submitted to RSA by MCB.
Yep.
Yep.
Correct.
So these are these predefined categories that the federal government is
Yes.
using?
Yep, they're right. Yep, they're right out of the AWARE system.
Okay.
We can't change that. Well, there've been conversations about, you know, adding others, but we can't change that until RSA changes it, because it will cause the system to crash, and all the reports will be not functional. But if once RSA gives the order to the provider alliance to update, they update based on the language, because ultimately the reports go into RSA, and so it has to match exactly the data they are collecting, not what an agency would like to collect or what you know. So it's based on that system.
Okay. So maybe what we could do then is on that glossary page, we could define a little bit what is included in each category.
Yeah, sure.
So that there's clarity.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think I would also add the explanation about the RSA piece, because, you know, as an African American, you know, even having other people in a other category, or a white, non-Hispanic, or Latino, to kind of put some context around that, because I would rather have that something a little bit more human, for lack of a better word. And I know that you guys don't determine that, but, you know, something along the lines of multiracial, or, you know,
yeah,
I don't know, but just some context to let people know that this isn't wording of your choice, but more of.
Yeah, we're not making this determination.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, good
I
point.
think that would help calm certainly my soul a little bit.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
I agree. I mean, there's a lot in that other category, and quite frankly, I'm not happy with that. I know that's not our choice. And no, it's RSA. And so this may be an advocacy point that we could pursue at the, directed towards the federal level, but having some further explanation around that would be helpful.
Yeah, I think out of those 27, there's like 23 different, or I forgot the number off the top of my head, like 23 or 22 different categories under that other. So it's like, it's just a number of different, and like you had mentioned before, Cheryl, it's more just multiracial identification. So there's just different, combinations really.
Mhm.
Yeah. I just want to point out that if you're white and Hispanic, you're counted as a number, but if you are not white and Hispanic, you're an other. Like, that's not right.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, I see your point. Thank you. Do we want to do anything comparatively from year to year to see if we're making, headway on becoming more diverse and mapping the current numbers against, say, where we were a year ago? Or maybe broken down by, I know I'm just like piling more work on you, Nate. I'm wondering about like regions. Are we getting a lot of diversity in one region and less diversity in another region?
Yeah, I think that's why it's important to look at also just the demographics of the state to see if we're reflecting that or not. Because
Yeah.
I think that would let us know if we're, there's barriers in some different areas, or if there's lack of access for whatever reason in different areas. It might clue us into that.
How might you approach that statistically to put it in our table?
I probably would do our numbers that we have here for the active VR cases, the percentage of what that is of the total for each one, and then and assuming that I can find the same demographic, like if it's lumped together the same way somewhere for the state numbers. That's the only place I envision there being an issue if they're identified in different buckets for whatever reason, or it's not like, it should be, I think it should be basic enough where we can get close. But and they're just putting those percentages up against each other. Breaking it out by county would be, we could do it, but it's going to be a lot more effort to do so. But we could do that eventually too.
But we do have our 6 MCB regions. That wouldn't correspond to any federal thing, but I'm wondering if we might internally be able to see.
Yeah, that's where I thought county might be more of an alignment, especially looking at state statistical data. Because our regions obviously jump from, like Region 1 has 4 counties, and some regions are half in one county, half in another county. So it's not as clean as if we did counties. So I think if we wanted to drill down to that detail, that would be my recommendation, was to go that far down, just to make it as clean as possible.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Other comments or thoughts before we go to the next chart? Okay, so moving on.
HA32. Blank. HA32.
So here we've got age.
14-18. A33.
There are our kids.
111. B33. 14-18. 19-29. 258. B 19. 30-39. 107. B35. 30. 40-49. 84. B30. 40. 50-59. 107. B 50. 60 plus A38. 114. B38. 60 plus. Blank A30. 60. 104. Blank C38.
There again, if we could get some percentages, that could be useful to just find out what decade people are when they're receiving VR training.
Yeah, that's easy. That's easily done.
Other thoughts?
Yeah, and the total range was 14 to 88. So our oldest person in VR was 88, and obviously the 14 to 18-year-olds are pre-ETS folks. That's why I broke it down 14 to 18 to
Yeah.
get us together, and then 1929 was the next group.
Yep. That's great. It's a nice, easy way to capture the pre-ETS crowd.
Yep.
There again, I'm wondering if maybe having an annual comparison, because we've been focusing just since WIOA more on our kids. I'm wondering if a year-to-year comparison would help us see how we're doing, especially for that crowd.
Yeah, I think I can do that.
I have a quick question. Point of clarification. This is for vocational rehabilitation, right?
Vocational rehabilitation.
VR.
Yep.
Okay.
So this is Rebecca
An
from the
observation.
Federation. Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry.
No,
go
go
ahead.
ahead, Rebecca. No, go
I
ahead.
was just going to ask for the students who are ages 14 to 18 and I guess 19 to 29. Those are throughout the state in public schools. Does that include Perkins School for the Blind?
Yes.
Okay. And do you guys ever separate it so that you know how many kids are being served in the public school districts versus how many kids are specifically in Perkins?
We could probably, I'm sure there's a way I could do that, not from the data set that I'm looking at, but
Right.
I'm sure I could do that.
It's just me. I work this, but I'm also a parent, and I'm always just kind of curious about the kids who are being served, who are, visually impaired or legally blind, but being served in public school systems.
Mhm.
It's just, those are good talking points to have.
Sure.
Yeah. So.
Yeah,
That's
maybe we
okay.
could even add a whole new table, just focusing in on our
Pre-ETS.
pre-ETS youth and how many are served, as Rebecca said, in public school versus in private settings. And
They could be public schools. They could be in another educational or training setting in a different state. There's a number of different things that they could be doing. So.
Yeah, I mean, that would be super helpful. Part of what we're trying to do is really let people know about pre-ETS. And this is such a specialized population, but the more details that I could have about it, maybe the better I could reach out to certain audiences or even try to get the public school folks to know about it.
Yeah, sure, Rebecca. What I'll do is I'll break, like Deanne mentioned, we can break out a separate section for pre-ETS. And I'll kind of explore the data that we have, and I'll try to formulate something that I feel might be helpful, and then we can review that again when we get back together.
Yeah, that'd be lovely. Thank you.
yeah, thank you for the suggestion. I'm wondering if this might also be a place for us to capture the kids who are enrolled, not the kids, they might be in their 20s, who are enrolled in the Next Gen Innovation Grant that we just heard about.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe we could kind of go in this category too. Cool. Thank you.
Bland C39, bland C40, bland C4, bland C40, bland C43, bland A43. Blindness registration A44, bland B44, blindness registration A4, bland A. Cases in process A46, bland B46, cases in process A40, bland A47, stage A48, 5/24 stage A4, fax/mail/email A49. 4, B49.
Yeah, I confess I wasn't quite sure I understood this part.
Yeah, so this is
A49.
looking at our registrations in process. I don't know how I put it on here because we just had talked about it at the end, but I think I don't know how useful this is going to be, especially if we stay consistent with our output that we do now. The numbers should always be pretty low in this. The information that might be helpful is maybe, at the time that the report goes out, our oldest case that is in process, how old it is, whether it's 3, 5, 7 days old. But I think what might be more useful for the registration numbers for folks is the totals, looking at the totals for the year, maybe how those came in, how they were submitted, whether they were submitted by fax or through the online system or another way. And also, as you had mentioned with some of the information before, maybe a comparison from year to year, just to understand the volumes compared. Like looking back at COVID, we're probably around 1,300 cases, where this year we're probably trending towards 2,300 cases. So,
Yeah, exactly.
things like that might be more valuable than where we are with cases in process. That might be a little bit more interesting if for whatever reason we were behind or we had cases stacked up because of whatever the reason might be. But that's not an anticipation I have going forward.
Yeah. Do you have statistics that you keep about the average amount of time, let's say on a monthly basis, that it's taking for a person to proceed from application to enrollment? Like
So,
it takes on average 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and then maybe that would be something that we could wrap our heads around and compare?
Absolutely. It's not something that we've historically done, but it's something that we're starting to do. So it's something that I'll be going forward.
Yeah, that might be another way to look at it.
Yep. That's a great suggestion.
Quality control, fax/mail/email A49. Quality control A50.
Oh, when you say
So-
fax?
Stage
these are
A48.
So these would need an explanation. So these are the different stages that a registration would come through. So if they're in fax, mail, or email, they need to be taken from that and inputted into our system. So they need to be physically data entered. Quality control are cases that have been inputted that need to be reviewed, just what it says, QC'd. And then the next one down is probably central register. Those are ones, or let me see it before. I just want to look at it real quick. The next one down is central registration. Those are ones that need to move from our registration system to the aware system. Needs verification are registrations that need more information to be processed. So those are the different places that, or different steps it could be in. Once it moves out of central registration into aware, that's when the case is done from the registration point of view, because it's out with the regional director at that point to be assigned to a worker. So services will begin.
Okay. Thanks.
Fax/mail/email. Quality control A50. Central registration. Needs verification A52. Total A53. 28 B50. Total A50. Blank A54.
Any other comments before we go to the next one?
I'm thinking this is something we'll take out completely as far as the registrations in process. Like I said, when I did this on the 24th, we had 28 cases in process. Right now, looking at it, we have 13 cases in process. It's never going to be that much. If for whatever reason it's outside what I would consider, that 10-day range of being processed, I would probably let you guys know in the information, like, hey, this is going on. This is the reason why this is outside the normal range. Same thing with the COBs and IDs. But I think including the information with the totals, which we're going to see next, I think is going to be more beneficial for you.
Yeah, somehow I think would benefit from having some presentation, even if the numbers are very low, just to assure members that things are moving as smoothly as they need to. I know that MCB a few months ago, there were some things that were causing some distress for a whole variety of reasons, and we were hearing consumer feedback that the registrations maybe weren't moving as quickly as clients had hoped, and so just having some snapshot to base an opinion on would.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I can keep it. There's no problem.
Yeah, we're very flexible about how we kind of capture that data. I don't know the system well enough to really be very prescriptive, I'm afraid. But
yeah, it's a super quick lift on my end to put this in, because it's just a snapshot. So I have no problem doing it if it's beneficial to you.
We can play with it for a few meetings and then see if it's yielding the kind of feedback that people need, or if we want to make some changes.
Sounds good.
All right, thanks.
Oldest case in process A55 5/20/2022 left parent 3 right parent
Okay.
B5 oldest case in blank A total cases processed by month A57 blank A58 month A59 January A6 89 B60 January February 180 February March April May June July August September October November December A7 blank A72 December A71 blank B71 blank C71 blank December A71.
Any comments on this table?
Blank A7 blank A70 blank A1,048,000 first cell Massachusetts.
And that's the end of our spreadsheet for the RC. Is there any information that members would like for us to try to capture here that we didn't include?
Dan, you mentioned geographic distribution. I'm wondering if that somehow can be represented here. It's great to see who's being served and where. I don't know if it's by office or just by general region within the Commonwealth.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I have that on the list. Thank you.
So like maybe the breakdown of the 450 number, it was the 750 number or 781.
Yep.
Like the total number of VR clients in the system and break those down. Yeah,
Absolutely.
that would be good. I don't think we have anything here about gender. Do we want to try to capture something about people who are male, female, or who identify as other, non-binary?
That would be good.
That's probably a quick capture.
Yeah, I think I did that pretty quickly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know that when we were reviewing those surveys, we had so many individual categories that we were looking at. I think this kind of provides a good snapshot for many of them. We might be missing one.
Yeah, for gender, we're going to have female, male, participant did not self-identify. And I don't know if other is I have to see if other is something that's in the system or not. Again, this is
so what you mentioned, Nate, is what's in the system. Any other identification is not in the system. That's another RSA thing.
Yeah.
That they only are collecting male, female, or other. They're not collecting anything else.
Is it male, female, or other, or male, female, not identified, or is that just what the system identifies?
I think they're both in there.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, unidentified. You'd have to bring it up. There was a discussion recently that I had with a commissioner, and another commissioner had brought this up, and so we're not able to do that because, again, that would break the federal reports. So that's the best we can do until, again, RSA wants to start changing things and collecting things this way.
Okay. Let's see how we're doing in time.
3:01 p.m.
Oh dear, we are running quite late, aren't we? Let me just do a real quick change.
Meeting controls. Notes for June 1st. Post attendee -FW dashboard summary for SAP 0504. First cell blank A1. Dashboard summary for.
Dan, you know, we can still hear your jaws, right?
Right.
Okay, good.
Oh, I was just switching over to the statutory advisory board spreadsheet, which is the one that I just wanted to. But thank you for the warning. So I'm just going to down arrow here real super quick.
MCB dashboard summary.
And I don't feel comfortable changing anything for the statutory advisory board. It sounds to me like this is something that they would be working on, and maybe we would just get a copy. Is that correct, Nate?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So if you haven't yet had a chance to look at it.
Blank A4. Registrations left parent calendar year right parent.
And again, this is for agency wide, not just the VR. Is that correct? I'm understanding the difference between the two pieces of information collected here.
There is agency, yeah. So there is SR and VR broken out in this spreadsheet.
Okay.
Yes,
Year
they
A6.
are separate. Yeah.
Total registrations A7 1,866.
So here we're getting much bigger numbers.
Total blank A8 registrations dash current inventory blank change E10 blank F10 chain minus 95 E11 0 D11 95 C11 96 B11 quality control A11 edge of central registration A12 fax/mail/email A13.
So we're seeing some of the same categories covered.
Yeah, a lot of it's going to be very similar.
Mhm.
And again, like you had mentioned before, this breaks it up by meeting by meeting in this case, or year by year with the registrations, and it's just more data is all it is.
Okay.
Obviously, the one that we put together for the RC was kind of our first stab at it, so it doesn't have the historical data that this does.
I was wondering if maybe we could just take whatever the statutory advisory board decides that they want to do and then add that as maybe a third page to our
Oh yeah, we can definitely include
worksheet. And yeah,
that's
and
real
then,
easy for me. It's copy and paste.
yeah, and then we're also working, we don't have them this quarter, but we have the financial statistics that the
Priscilla Gomez
MCB
left the
has
meeting.
been providing. So maybe we could have the financial page be a fourth page.
Sure.
And then we'll just have all of our data in one great big spreadsheet that we could have every quarter.
Yeah,
That would be great. Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you again for all of your work on this, and we'll be in touch as we kind of continue to refine it. And if people have other thoughts after leaving the meeting today, please feel free to shoot me an email. And again, we'll be looking at it again in September and December, and we can continue to make changes. So thank you.
Thank you.
Very briefly, we're going to move into other business. I sent out an email earlier with 4 proposed dates for 2023. Our meetings, it's hard to believe that we're thinking that far ahead. The governor's guidance about holding meetings remotely will expire on July 15th. We are waiting to see what happens. There are a number of bills in the legislature about whether we'll be moving to a hybrid model or whether we'll be meeting in person back at 600 Washington Street. So hopefully by our September meeting, we'll know more. We changed meeting times this last year. You might remember going from 10 o'clock in the morning to noon and switching instead from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. That seems to me to be working out for people. Do people feel that they're okay with this time slot going forward? And did those times work for folks?
They work for me.
Yay.
Hey,
For me.
Hi, this is Rebecca. Deanne, I think I told you, my daughter has alternate half days on Wednesdays, which drive me crazy. So we're having one today. So I can't promise. If I have caregivers and it's a half day, I can do it. But if the Wednesdays are just, they are the straw that break my back every 2 weeks. So
Oh yeah. Is it consistent? Like our meetings will be the first week of each of those months. One will be in June. So school would be out of session then. The other would be the
she
first.
has extended school year. So
Okay.
yeah.
Then there'll be September, December, and March, always the first week.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do the best I can, and I can go back and look at their calendar, but yeah, okay, sorry.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay, we'll keep that in mind. Anyone else? Okay, I will check with MCB about their schedule and coordinating something. Do we have any other business?
This is Jerry. I don't know if you want me to talk about the BSCB conference or save that for next time. I know we're out of time.
We could just maybe briefly touch on it now since it's kind
Okay.
of timely.
Well, since our last meeting, and I am representing the Bay State Council of the Blind on the Rehab Council. Since our last meeting, although I wasn't at this, I wasn't able to be there, but we had a BSCB conference on April 30th, which a panel discussion was included, which was organized by Jennifer Harnish, chair of our advocacy committee. And it featured Kim Charlson representing the Statutory Advisory Committee Board, SAB. And Deanne also represented the RC on that.
Carol Scott has left the meeting.
And they talked about what the two advisory groups do, the RC and the SAB. And they also let people know that these meetings are open to the public, and they encouraged people, members of BSCB, to attend the meetings. And I think that's about it, other than to say that Commissioner Darkangelo did attend and participated, and for that we're very appreciative. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry. I wanted to follow up. Is Jennifer still in the line? Hello? Hello?
You and I are the only ones left. No, there's still quite a few on here.
Okay.
I'm still here. Rebecca's still here. Sorry.
Very good. Sorry. just
Jennifer
cut
is
out for a
still
second.
shown on, she may have stepped
We're
away.
still here.
Jennifer made a good point. Yeah, Jennifer, I'm wondering if you want to say maybe a few more words about the Carroll Society Awards.
Oh, yes. So they will be on June 9th at 3 p.m. On site at the Carroll Center. They will also be streamed live on our Facebook channel. And these are have been a yearly event and working together with the Commission for the Blind to recognize visually impaired individuals who are working and recognizing them for the work that they do. And it's an opportunity to not just recognize the work of these individuals, but also to share with potential employers the wide range of skills that visually impaired individuals have. And there will be 4 individuals this year, as well as Nora Nagel, who will be inducted into the Carroll Society. She's a formal award recipient, and as well as former member of the RC. So invite everyone to join. It's always moving. You'll be hearing stories of the individuals and their employers who join as well, and about their experiences, what made a difference to them in terms of rehabilitation services, for example, support from their VR counselors, et cetera, in obtaining and maintaining employment.
So congratulations, Brian Switzer, who will be inducted. That's a great achievement.
Thank you, Deanne and RC.
Yeah, great to hear it. And then also congratulations to Nora, who served for many, many years on this board. And some of you had the chance to work closely with Nora, and her term ended about a year ago. So very, very well deserved, both of you. Any other new business? Hearing none, we'll go on to our public comment period. My apologies that this is kind of an abbreviated period. Did anyone in the public have any comments or questions that they would like to make? Hearing none, our next meeting is going to be September 7th. I hope all of you have a wonderful summer. Stay safe. Enjoy. We'll be in touch.
Tina Rosenbaum has left the meeting.
If you get an opportunity to tune in to the internship ceremonies just to cheer on our
Sarah Wiles has left the meeting.
Folks, that would be a wonderful thing too. We'd love to have your presence and your participation. Thank you everyone for the wonderful comments.
John Oliveira has left the meeting.
And we really
Brian
appreciate
Switzer has left the meeting.
And we will see you in September.
Thank you, Deanne. Thank you for all your hard work.
Dan. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Jerry B. Smeldon has left the